Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and it looks like reality is starting to set in for Nikki Haley and her supporters. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. Now, Governor Chris Sununu of New Hampshire, he's been a strong supporter of one Nikki Haley, the former ambassador of the United Nations under former President Donald Trump. However, he still has a lot of negative things to say about Trump. He's still not a fan of Trump. But in this interview, he says something very surprising. He says if it comes down to Biden and Trump, unlike people like Chris Christie and that, he's going to support Trump. Now, I personally was shocked by this. I don't know if you would be, but I want you to see it because this is a guy who was on all media all the time just bashing Trump. And then here he is still bashing him, but then saying he would support him. Politics is an interesting game. I want you to watch this video and then give me your comments on it. So please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm Carmine Sabia for Explain America. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.
What does the future of the Republican Party look like if Nikki Haley is the nominee and then becomes the president versus the future of the Republican Party if Donald Trump is reelected?
Donald Trump is gasoline on the fire. Nikki Haley brings folks together with a record of experience. She's a winner, and she can get more winners and build more winners. That's what this is all about. Trump is a loser. Look, we lost big in 2022, and I think more Republicans should want more Republicans to win, but it only happens if we say, thank you for your service, Mr. Trump. We're moving on to the future.
So you won't vote for Donald Trump?
Well, if he's the nominee, if we have to go with our weakest candidate, of course I'm going to vote for the Republican because that's how bad Biden is. Biden has become so bad that now he actually could squeak out a win. That's how bad Joe Biden is that America would take all that chaos, potentially, over Joe Biden.
The difference, as we all know, is that there's never been a president in history who has tried to hold on to power and participated actively in a violent act at the Capitol to hold on to power, that peaceful transition of power, which has been the bedrock of American institutions and our democracy. So can you really consider this an apples-to-apples transaction when you consider the future of the country under a future Biden, a second Biden, or a second Trump presidency?
Well, according to the polls, most Americans agree with me.
But when you do look at the polls, you also notice that Trump begins to lose under the circumstance where there is a conviction of Donald Trump.
There's not going to be, look.
And I know you don't think there's going to be a conviction, but I'm just saying.
That's a hypothetical that's way out there. If everyone's waiting for a conviction, some external factor to stop Donald Trump, don't. Go to the ballot box.
Are you really such a partisan that you think that you would vote for Donald Trump, that would be the best choice for the country if he were the nominee?
I mean, what Biden has done to this country, the lack of management, the massive amounts of this wokeism, this socialism. Yes, I would vote for the Republicans. This is my other hope. It's not just the president. It's who he surrounds him. My hope was that he would bring in a better team. Biden's cabinet is awful. I mean, awful. Trump at least has the ability to put a good team in place.
Does he?
I'm sure he has the opportunity to do it, yeah.
You say that Biden would be worse than Trump.
Oh, without a doubt.
But how do you then really grapple with the things Donald Trump is saying he will do when he's president? He says he'll use the Justice Department to target his critics. He says that he will terminate the Constitution and use the military for domestic law enforcement. I mean, he's saying things that are outrageous, and he's said them much before. But you know what? He's also more organized this time.
He is.
And he has very effective people around him. Does that give you pause?
In terms of?
Well, after January 6th.
You're talking about January 6th. Of course it gives me pause. Nobody likes to hear that kind of stuff, especially out of someone who could be the leader of the free world. But I believe he could potentially put a much better team together to manage the individual aspects of government far and away better than Joe Biden. There's no question about that. And most Americans would agree with me.
Just going to say it feels like fantasy thinking, but I'm going to move on.
What fantasy thinking? What, that he would put a good team together?
That he would put a great team together. That we have any
better
reason
than
to believe.
Biden's is that bad.
To your point about the strength of institutions, I mean, he wants to use the Justice Department to target his enemies.
Look, I don't want to get into there are arguments to be made that the Democrats have done just that.
But no Democrats have marshaled violence against the Capitol to hold on to political power.
January 6th was awful, right? It was absolutely awful. But to say, well, just because of January 6th, he's not going to get elected. No.
No, I'm not saying just because of January 6th, he won't get elected. I think he very well could get elected, but should he?
If the people vote for him, yes. Right? Because it's not up to you. It's not up to me. It's only about the voters.
Isn't
and
there
the
a degree
voters
of
have the
leadership
say.
here? You're the governor of a state. You
Yes,
have
because the
responsibility
voters
to say what
decide.
should happen. I mean,
No,
but you can take a stick.
no,
You're taking
no.
a stick for Nikki Haley.
No, I have to be honest. That's a really dangerous premise that you're putting out there. That because I'm a
leaders should
governor,
stand
I
up
should say
for-
what should happen.
Or
The
you should-
voters
then you can say
decide
what you
what
would
should
do.
happen.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
no
it's
question.
all about the voters.
But you would still vote for Trump under
I
that
would.
circumstance.
Yeah.